Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to explain why free college will destroy education. Now, what's one reason for this? One primary reason is that not everybody needs a college education. Basically what this would do is just add 4 more years of just more learning, more baseline learning stuff. It'd basically become the same as high school because everybody would get a college education now because it's free. So everybody would go get their college education and then leave, and it'd be just as competitive outside of the college education afterward. All these people would be going to college when they don't actually need to go to college. They'd be wasting 4 more years of their life when they don't actually need to acquire that knowledge to get a job. They would just go so that they can compete later. This is not the right way to do things. Because when you give everybody the same base level of education, people need to do more to go and basically make themselves stand out, give themselves more knowledge, give themselves a competitive advantage in their field. That system where it would be everybody gets this 4-year education, it just increased the number of years required to get a job, when the real requirement for getting a job should just be the amount of knowledge that you hold. Like if you have enough knowledge, you should be able to go and get that job rather than having to spend 4 more years just to get a degree or just to get this thing by your name to make it seem like you'd be better equipped. No, the purpose of college is to get knowledge. It's not to get this distinction by your name. That's the whole purpose of going to college to begin with, is to obtain enough knowledge to be able to get out and go work in the workforce, to get out and go work the job that you want to work. That's the purpose, is to acquire knowledge. But when you say that everybody has to acquire this certain knowledge, then people have to do more to get a sort of competitive advantage. So it just becomes this like race to get more and more credentials. So then the master's degree will be the next thing that people need to get if they want a job. And like before, way in the past, people used to be able to get good jobs just with a high school diploma. Now a high school diploma is meaningless because every single person gets it. Every single person gets a high school diploma because, well, it's free. This education stuff is free. Not everybody has the same requirements for living. Not everybody has the same requirements to achieve their values. So to make education free is to basically incentivize more people to go, and these people don't need this education. They don't need this stuff to achieve their values. Just look at the current system of college education. It's highly incentivized. There's way too many people in college. There's way too many people at the university, and people are not getting jobs. People there's so many people that these people don't actually need to go to college to get the job that they want. So they take people take political science or gender studies. That's the common meme. But all these sort of things that aren't going to get you actual jobs, or like a philosophy degree. All these things aren't actually going to help you in life. So by making college free, you're getting more and more of these people. You're increasing the demand more and more, when the demand for this type of labor, these college-educated jobs, is also going down. So these people aren't going to be able to get jobs afterward. But they're still being incentivized to go to college because, it's free. Why not? Why shouldn't I? Because you're wasting 4 years of your life and when you're not going to actually get a job. Right now it's also pretty bad because they give out loans to just about everybody, and they highly incentivize college education for everybody. And this is also damaging because not everybody needs it. Not everybody needs a college education. Now, another problem with making college free is that the government has to come in and decide, which colleges are we going to make free and which colleges are we not going to make free. So this basically, what it does is it enforces the status quo. This is why if you look back at like high schools or other education, there's no changes because the government has to decide, we're going to fund this school, we're going to fund this curriculum, we're going to fund this specific thing, but these other things, these new potential innovations, we're not going to fund those because this is what works. We're staying with what works. The same thing would happen with college. There would be no innovations in education for college, and it'd be basically the common core of college. And that's not what we want to see. That's not at all what we want to see. We want to see innovations. We want to see innovations in teaching and in knowledge. But when the government gets involved, that's not what happens. It over incentivizes people to go and get these useless degrees, and it basically just leads to no innovation. It leads to stagnation. and it absolutely destroys education. Look at our current education system for public schooling. It's not very strong. There's obviously some good schools. I'm sure some of them are okay, but the vast majority are not teaching people what they need to know, and the government sort of encourages this curriculum that is absolutely destructive to the human mind and doesn't actually teach people. It teaches people memorization. It teaches them memorization techniques. It doesn't teach them conceptualization. That's the current system. That's what the current system is going to be constantly enforced by the government, because if anyone comes to innovate with some new innovations, they're going to lose government funding because they're not sticking to the government curriculum. That's what happens. That's basically what happens when the government comes in and gets themselves involved in things. It's the same thing with healthcare. Same thing with anything that the government sticks its hands in. It destroys it. It absolutely destroys it. Because now look at what you see with healthcare. It's the U.S. still has a largely private system, but and because of that, it innovates. Well, not largely private. It's still somewhat private. But it innovates still more than all these other publicly funded places, because, like I was saying before, the government has to come in and decide that this type of medicine is okay to get funded, but this new type of medicine, this new innovation, no, we're not funding that. That's unproven, untested, untried, and that's what happens. The government comes in and destroys innovation, and it's the same thing with education. Why have public schools and high schools been the same for the past 100 years with no real innovations? Only now are they starting to get computers involved a little bit, or just only now are they starting to teach computer science, when they should have been teaching that 20 years ago. And if it was privatized, you'd definitely see these little startup schools just teaching computer science and seeing what happens, because they see, oh, computers, this is going to be good. But with government, it's slow innovation. There's nothing that does it moves slow. It's very skeptical of any new innovations. When the free market, it goes fast. It tries a bunch of different things, and the things that work are adopted by everybody because they're profitable, because they're actually what's going to work and be good for people. But yeah, so don't privatize don't make college education free. Also, there's a sense of injustice that I feel with this. This is more of a personal thing to me, but I worked fucking hard to get my college tuition paid for. I worked hard in high school to get this college education paid for through scholarships. I still have to pay room and board, but my tuition is free. To give that to everybody, regardless of their talents, regardless of what they did, is just, I don't know. It's so unjust to me. It's not actually giving people what they deserve, and that's not what I want to happen. But yeah, I think that is all I have to say for today. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Peace.